Hello everyone, welcome to my 2020 Cedar Fair prediction video. Today we'll be taking a look at all of the Cedar Fair parks and seeing what they might add for next year. Now, a couple disclaimers before I start. These are all predictions based on rumors and teasers. Nothing has been confirmed. Alright, let's get started. In 2019, Cedar Fair had two major coasters, Copperhead Strike at Carowinds and Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. However, beyond this, additions were fairly minimal across the chain. My prediction for next year is there'll be fewer big additions, but a lot more mid-size or smaller additions. Let's start things off with California's Great America. This is a medium-sized park in the Cedar Fair chain, and as such, they do not receive an addition every year. However, when they receive additions, they tend to be larger in scale. Last year's addition was Railblazer, an RMC Raptor coaster, and the year before they converted the stand-up Vortex into the Floros Patriot. For 2019, they didn't receive an addition, but 2020 has been confirmed to be a major water park expansion. This will include several drop pod slides, a couple tube slides, a new kids area, several restaurants, and a complete rebrand of the water park. Unlike my initial prediction, it will not include an additional slide tower for something like a mat racer or another family slide. Next, we will move on to Canada's Wonderland, one of the largest Cedar Fair parks. This park receives a ton of investment from corporate, often receiving multiple new rides in a single year or a major custom coaster. For 2019, this park received Yukon Striker, a B&M dive coaster, and the largest investment in the chain. In recent years, they have hit almost every area of the park, but one area they have not addressed is their kids area. Currently, the park is home to Kidsville and Plant Snoopy, two separate kids areas. My prediction for 2020 is they'll consolidate these into a single kids area, rebranded Camp Snoopy to go along with the Frontier Canada theme, and with several new small children's rides. Next is Carowinds, another large park in the Cedar Fair chain. At the moment, this is one of the parks receiving the most investment from corporate, as the park adds a large attraction or other major addition almost every year. For 2019, this was the second park in the chain to receive a coaster with the addition of Copperhead Strike, a Mock Rides launch coaster. In 2020, I expect their investment to be much smaller in scale. Over the past several years, Cedar Fair has converted two of their B&M stand-up coasters into floorless coasters. The last B&M stand-up in the chain exists at Carowinds. For 2020, I expect this to be converted to a floorless coaster as well. Moving on to Cedar Point, the flagship park of the Cedar Fair chain. As the largest park in the chain, this park tends to receive the largest investment in many years, receiving multiple coasters in the past decade, as well as a number of other large additions. Despite the addition of Steel Vengeance just last year, I expect this park to receive a major investment next year in celebration of their 150th anniversary. Unlike some expectations, this will not be a large coaster. Instead, I expect a collection of several attractions in a whole new area of the park. Rumored to be themed to a boardwalk, this area will be anchored by a new state-of-the-art dark ride and complemented by several thrilling or family flat rides. In future years, a mid-sized coaster may be added to this area, but that will not be part of the initial plans in 2020. Next up is Dorney Park, a medium-sized Cedar Fair park operating in a highly competitive market. Due to its size and location, this park rarely receives an investment of note. Often, the park will add a couple flat rides every few years to keep guests coming, but their last major addition such as a coaster was all the way back in 2008. Many fans speculated this would be the year for a new ride, however, that does not appear to be the case. Instead, permits suggest a small water park addition, such as a water fortress. Of the major Cedar Fair parks, King's Dominion is the one that receives the least investment. This park generally gets a new attraction about 2 out of every 3 years, but often only gets one major attraction per decade. Last year, this park added their first coaster in 8 years with Twisted Timbers, an RMC conversion of Hurler. For 2019, nothing was added, but 2020 is looking like it's going to be a water park edition. Since King's Dominion already offers a drop pod slide tower, my prediction is something like Dorsal Fin Drop and Surfer Swell at Carowinds, featuring a bowl slide and a wall slide. Now for Kings Island, the last major Cedar Fair park to discuss. This park does not receive an addition every year, but when they do receive a new ride, it is usually something of note. The park adds a new roller coaster approximately every 3 to 5 years, with the most recent installation being Mystic Timbers in 2017. With a car ride last year, it's likely 2020 will be another coaster year, and groundwork confirms this. Almost all speculation points to this park receiving a B&M Giga Coaster for 2020, and this will likely be the only coaster in the Cedar Fair chain next year. That's very far as my home Cedar Fair park, and as a combination of being both the highest attended park in the chain as well as the chain's only year-round park, they receive a large amount of investment almost every year. Since 2013, the park has been overhauling one section each year, and with the addition of Hang Time last year and Calico River Rapids this year, almost every section of the park is now in pristine condition. Therefore, I think the park will start turning their eyes toward expansion. Unfortunately, the park is landlocked, so it will take time before anything materializes. My expectation is next year will be a lot of backstage work in order to clear land for a major expansion in the next couple years. Michigan's Adventure is both the lowest attended Cedar Fair park and one of the most remote parks in the chain. As a result, this park hardly ever receives any sort of addition. In the past 3 years, the only sort of investment to this park was a small kids area added to the water park. Beyond that, they have received only one flat ride in the 2010s, and their last coaster was installed in 2008. However, the park did just announce the closure of Bebop Boulevard, their car ride. Due to the location of this attraction, I expect the park will expand their kids area and rebrand it Camp Snoopy for next year, as the park does not currently have a Snoopy-themed kids area. Next on the list is Valley Fair, a medium-sized park located just outside the city of Minneapolis. Despite being located near a large population center, this park does not receive much investment compared to similarly sized parks in the chain. In general, additions at Valley Fair are limited to a new flat ride every couple years with the occasional water park expansion. The park has not received a new coaster since Renegade in 2007, and it does not look like this is going to change anytime in the near future. For 2020, the best this park can hope for is a family flat ride. The last couple editions have been more thrill-focused, so it is time for the park to receive something that families with smaller children can enjoy together. Last up is Worlds of Fun, a fairly large park located in Kansas City. Despite the size of this park, it is lacking in attractions compared to many other parks in the chain. That said, this is one of the few non-flagship Cedar Fair parks that seems to receive some sort of investment almost every year. Unfortunately, most of these investments are in the form of flat rides, while major attractions such as a roller coaster are added about once per decade. Despite this park being overdue for a major new roller coaster, recent teasers have indicated that a water park edition is in store for next year. My expectation is this will be similar to what is added to King's Dominion, as it will be cheaper for Cedar Fair to clone the attraction, and both water parks currently have similar lineups. So there you have it, my complete predictions for every 2020 edition in the Cedar Fair chain. In short, Kings Island is getting the major new coaster, Cedar Point is getting a major park expansion, and most of the other parks will be getting either a water park edition, a Camp Snoopy, or something of similar scale. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.